everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean Live Radio Show, featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Sanders,
also known as Ginny Almighty,
who joins Dr. Dean on tonight's program. Phone lines are now open at 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027. And we'll be taking your calls from around the world and right here in the USA.
Welcome everyone, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. So happy to be back with you again this week, this Monday, April, who knows, right? I saw something that said May was 300 days long, and it could have been March was 300 days long, and who knows what day it is today in April, but it's a good day because we're all here and we're getting one day closer to moving out of our social distancing protocol and moving forward into this new world that we're creating. And it's fun and exciting to think about how we're co-creating this future together of this new world that we're entering into, this world where paradigms have changed and opportunities are present and people are rethinking everything. They're rethinking their relationships. They're rethinking their backyards. I've seen a lot of that going on in my own neighborhood. And they're certainly rethinking their health, and hence we are here together, gathered together, in the name of our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean, who has been at the forefront of this journey, staking her claim, climbing that Mount Everest every single day, making her declarations from the rooftop that the very best strategy against any kind of disease or infection or any kind of global pandemic is to take charge of your own health. And the days of relying on the government or any kind of pharmaceutical company to be able to have your back are over. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about if you've been giving your body the basic nutritional building blocks, if you've been paying attention to how much sugar you're pouring into your body, if you've been moving your body judiciously and litigiously over the last several years, then you were able to let the cloud pass, the darkness pass over your life, and you were actually able to stand your ground, stand firm and confident in the knowing that you were going to be okay. And that's what we want for everybody. That's what we want for everybody. That's what Dr. Dean's life work has been about, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So let me just say, I am Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. I'll be Dr. Dean's co-host. And what we're going to do for the next 2 hours is a couple things. First, this is a live talk call-in radio show, and that means that we ask you to call in and talk. So you'll be able to call in, share your ideas, your insights, and also your experiences. How have you been holding up? What's been going on for you? What questions would you have for Dr. Dean moving forward as we seem to have hit our peak and starting to in the downward spiral of this thing? How can we move forward confidently? Number two, you can also chat with us on our chat line at Studio A here. You can type in your questions, and all you have to do is just use the guest option, and you can know that you can type your words in there. And I think somebody just typed me and said that the page says it's a pre-recorded program, Bill. Maybe you could check on that because we are definitely live this evening. The next thing that you can do is you can listen to what our other callers are talking about and reflecting on, and contribute that way as well by giving your feedback through the chat line. Now, What is Dr. Dean going to be doing? Well, she's going to be sharing with you all the incredible information that has come out of the natural health world in the last 4 weeks as we've been looking at the options, possibilities, what's going on, preventative and acute care for this virus using natural remedies, using the assets that we have called nature, which is where the pharmacological got started from so many years ago before it lost its way. So we're going to be back in the old-timey way of doing things, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be exciting. Let me just also say Dr. Dean does not give medical advice on her radio show. That would be a big no-no. But she does say what she would do if she were you, and she has been very judicious in keeping track of all this information, and she's going to share it with us this evening. So without further ado, I will bring you the author of The Magnesium Miracle, and the one who is leading us through, shepherding us through this incredibly treacherous time here on the face of the earth, our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Hey, Ginny, thank you. Yes, it's a new world, but we've been leading this world for a long time. Ginny put it together in her blog today. That goes out Mondays before the show to remind you of the show. She said, building blocks for impeccable wellness. And it's kind of a vindication of what I've been telling folks for a long, long time. Ginny says these words, but puts them in my mouth. After decades of crusading about the power of good nutrition and supplementation, I'm now getting daily reports from people who attribute their continuing health, even in the midst of this pandemic, to the empowerment they have gained from my information and formulas. The body maintains itself if you supply it with the key building blocks that it requires. Those building blocks are magnesium, the mineral electrolytes, the whole B complex, vitamin C and D vitamins, also the essential fatty acids and amino acids that we have in our restructure. When used daily in their right ratios and combined with a reduction in processed foods, sugar, and alcohol, the body can flourish. Due to the dizzying complex of misinformation related to the virus being promoted now, I offered several colleagues to join me on my recent radio shows to make it very easy for you to get the best information on how to care for yourself and your loved ones during this crisis. And they're the March 23rd, the March 30th, and the April 6th shows. And what we're doing when people call or email or text customer service, we tell them go to those shows. March 23rd was on silver, March 30th was on vitamin C, and April 6th was on vitamin D. So tonight, no guests, but we're kind of wrapping things up about how specifically people can work with their health and take care of themselves. But I should make my sort of general announcements. I just wanted to jump right into Ginny's blog because it was cool. We want you to refer your practitioners. Your practitioners may not be in practice, but we're working with them to help mail to their patients their products. So Ginny and her pro practitioner team are very busy on that project. You can still use your referral candy. You must get your home blood test kit ordered. We really want to know what our vitamin D is doing, what our omega-3 fatty acids are doing, what our magnesium is doing, and what our TSH is doing in our blood with the nutrients that you're taking. We want to be protected, and the blood test will help you. It's under research at RNAreset.com. the magnesium deficiency survey is still up there, and we still get the very high numbers for people experiencing anxiety, insomnia, muscle cramps, heart palpitations, restless legs, headaches, migraines. So we want you to know that those symptoms are amenable to taking your magnesium. We're not saying we're treating those conditions. We're saying if you have those conditions, you're probably magnesium deficient and you want to replace your magnesium. We also want to announce that Mighty Mash is on the shelves. And Mighty Mash, that's the byproduct of our RNA reset drops. It's the leftovers. It's the barley sprout fiber that we've been using on crops and having incredible results. In Ginny's words, she says it was really understood from the beginning that all aspects of the RNA reset drops process would be beneficial. In 2011, when our early customers of the drops were working with whatever they could use the drops for, some of them began putting them on their plants or putting the dregs at the bottom of their bottles on their plants, in a diluted form, of course, and having great results. And Greg and Ginny, they put the RNA reset drops watered down in their Christmas tree bucket and had a vibrant tree throughout the entire season. People were talking about hibiscus flower. Was it hibiscus or hydrangea flowers just turning different colors unexpectedly? So people began using them in their vegetable gardens and everything. And then I began the MASH project on the farm here in Maui. So you can go to the farm project. The title is Farm Project, Healthier Vegetables with RNA Reset MASH. And Ginny, I'll email that to you. It was a horrendous long URL, but I will give you a tiny URL of it, Mighty Mash, so you can put it on the chat. Because you really see from observing how the radishes grew with the Mighty Mash and the radishes without the Mighty Mash, how different they were. I mean, the bottom line was that we got 85 pounds of perfect radishes from the Mighty Mash plot and 3 pounds from the plot that did not have Mighty Mash, and it didn't have any other amendments or fertilizers or anything. Each were watered every day. We did spray the radish plot with Mighty Mash tea twice a week, but we got such incredible results because Mighty Mash, as are the RNA reset drops, they're alive. They have probiotics. They are so alive that they make you and plants alive, and that aliveness rejects parasites, rejects weeds, rejects foreign viruses that are trying to attack us. So that's what we have to say about the Mighty Mash. Ginny put 100 bags on the cart on the website a couple of weeks ago, and they were gone in a flash. We didn't even advertise them, but we have many hundreds of bags that we can pet up for you. We want you to start your spring farming. You must realize by now how difficult it's going to be to get certain things, and you want to be more independent and self-reliant. And our Mighty Mash and our farm project are geared toward making our land healthier, our soil healthier, and our plants healthier. So those are the announcements. But here's an announcement that I thought I would never in my long lifetime see. President Trump the other day on one of his press conferences said, in his kind of stumbling way, I mean, the guy's going 100 miles an hour. He'll say a statement, never finish it because he's on to the next statement. So he said, they develop drugs like the antibiotics. You see it, antibiotics used to solve every problem. No, one of the biggest problems the world has is the germ has gotten so brilliant that the antibiotic can't keep up with it. They're constantly trying to come up with a new. People go to a hospital and they catch blank. They go for a heart operation. That's no problem, and they end up dying from problems. You know the problems I'm talking about. There's a whole genius to it. He's talking about the germs again. We're fighting. Not only is it hidden, but it's very smart. It's invisible and it's hidden, but it's very smart. So, yeah, not the best grammar at all, but do you have any idea what this means? This means that the door has been opened for alternatives to antibiotics. It's so huge. A sitting president or a non-sitting president has never gone up against the drug companies in this way by saying antibiotics are a problem. And they are a problem. I mean, how often have I talked about it? How often has this made some headlines about how we have antibiotic resistance, we have MRSA, because none of the antibiotics are effective against this MRSA, which is a type of strep that's gone out of control. So, as I said, this hugely opens up the doorway to us using alternatives to antibiotics, which, a lot of the media is saying, well, he doesn't even know the viruses can't be treated by antibiotics. Well, they are using Z-Paks. Everybody that has COVID-19, when they go in the hospital, they give them antibiotics. They don't have anything for the virus, and they're trying to prevent the pneumonia that is what harms most people. But, apparently President Trump has realized it's not working. And I think part of his statement is necessary because China has been making most of our drugs and supplies most of our drug raw materials. So we're just not going to be able to get the antibiotics as readily, and we will have to turn to alternatives, and not a moment too soon. Because seriously, if you've been listening to me for the past decade, the past 5 decades that I've been around, it's not a moment too soon because we've created the perfect storm of deficiencies of magnesium, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, selenium, all the various factors that support the immune system. We just don't have it anymore. I mean, listeners, old listeners to the show and our customers, they certainly have gotten the message and they've been taking their nutrients. So you're in good shape. But what's happened now with the realization about the vitamin C and the vitamin D, me knowing, what did I know 6-8 months ago when we decided to do the grassroots health project on blood testing with a home test kit? How did I know that it would be so vital for us to know our levels so that we could know how much vitamin D especially we needed to take? I've been not too keen on high-dose vitamin D because I know it drains the body of magnesium. But what I realized in my test is I was low in vitamin D, so I began taking 5,000 units to get my levels up, and I'm taking another half teaspoon of magnesium as well. So lots of people are talking about these nutrients. There is a run on them. There will be knockoffs. So Jenny and I decided that we'll make and carry all these important nutrients for our customers, for ourselves and our customers. So here's what I'm going to be taking. I'm taking 1.5 teaspoons of Remag. New people might need the 2 and 3 teaspoons. Remite, 1.5 teaspoons. Pico Silver, 1 to 2 teaspoons a day. Realign, 2 a day. RNA Reset Drops, 15 drops twice a day. We're going to be getting in vitamin D3, 5,000 units. And in the same capsule, I'm going to make them put in the K2 MK7, 120 micrograms, to make sure that the K2 is there to direct the calcium that's going to be attracted and absorbed with the help of vitamin D3 to make sure that calcium goes to the bones. Remag Magnesium also makes sure that the calcium that we are calcified with, actually, and the calcium in our diet, it helps make sure that calcium goes to the bones. We're also going to do a stabilized ion of zinc in a higher dose, half teaspoon, 20 milligrams. And the vitamin C, we're going to get an ascorbic acid that also contains our RNA reset powder, 5,000 milligrams a day is what I'm taking. The capsules themselves will be 1,000 per capsule along with the RNA reset powder. Now, I'm jumping on to zinc because of what we learned recently, where the reason hydroxychloroquine helps against viruses because it's an ionophore, ionophore. That drug creates openings in cell membranes that allows zinc to enter, and zinc is a potent antiviral. So what we know about our magnesium and our Remite, and then also our new zinc to come in a short few weeks, is that a stabilized ion is small enough to get into the mineral ion channels and go right into your cells. So these few milligrams of zinc that you're now taking in your Remite is inside your cells, helping you to deal with any viral activity. The vitamin C, we know from our March 30th program that everybody should be taking 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C. I'm taking 5,000 just to see how it feels and to I experiment with everything I tell people to do. I don't think I need 5,000, but I'm taking it to see if it gives me a laxative effect or what it does for me. But we know from our vitamin C experts that intravenous vitamin C, 20, 30, 50,000 milligrams, is turning COVID around. It is removing the threat of this virus. So those are the nutrients that I'm taking and I'm talking about, and I want you to hear what I'm going to say next. I want you to listen very carefully. I think COVID-19 is just the beginning of the possibility that our immune systems are so bad that we are going to be affected by other viruses that are coming along, and heaven forbid, God forbid, all the forbidding that I can possibly say, I hope that we don't turn into a world where these viruses are going to be used as warfare. Because now that nefarious factions can see how easy it is to shut down the world, it is a possibility that viruses will be used against us. But they will not affect an immune system that's intact. Seriously, even if it's genetically engineered, made in the lab, which it could be and will be, our bodies can resist anything that is foreign. Our bodies, just like in the radish experiment, will be strong enough to just Teflon it off. We will not be affected. I'm convinced of that. And as a certain president said, I'm not up on my presidents, that what you have to fear is fear itself. We get emails from people who tell us that their friends are cowering in their closets because of fear of this whole business. We can't live like that. We have to arm ourselves. We have to take care of our health and our immune system. So the mailbag question that came in, it started with a testimonial, kind of gives evidence of how people are feeling. I'm doing wonderfully on Remag, Lucy says. It has made a tremendous difference in my health. I found that there's a big difference between products by far. Remag works so very much better for me. That being said, I'm doing some preventive measures to fight COVID-19. I have a primary immune deficiency, so that means one or more of the many aspects of the immune system aren't working properly for Lucy. So she said she's at high risk for getting COVID. Any recommendations for those of us with extreme risk for COVID-19? With an antibody deficiency, yes, so she discusses how she can't develop antibodies against foreign invaders. And she says she's trying to be proactive and to be the best that I can be. So I'll repeat. Remag 2 to 3 teaspoons, Remite 1.5 teaspoons, Pico Silver 2 teaspoons, Realign 2, all taken in one day. RNA Reset drops, 15 drops twice a day. When we get the vitamin D3, it'll be 5,000 units a day. Zinc, probably just half a teaspoon a day to get 20 milligrams. Vitamin C, 2 to 5,000 milligrams a day. Now, with the zinc, we do have to warn people that shouldn't be taken continually or constantly because it will block your copper. In the Remite, I have copper and zinc in the right balance, but if you're just going to take zinc in high doses, you can throw off that balance. So zinc is going to be used when you're exposed or if you have symptoms. And back to Lucy, when someone has immune deficiencies, when they've had a lot of infection, it means they've had a lot of antibiotics. So you really have to look at my yeast book, Reset the Yeast Connection, and make sure you follow the yeast-free diet and probably do yeast detox, because all the it's 178 different byproducts from yeast. All of those byproducts are going to put a strain on the immune system. So people with immune deficiencies, they have a double-edged sword. Their immune system is compromised. They're given antibiotics, and they get yeast overgrowth that further compromises their immune system. So going back to what President Trump said, antibiotics, they've been used far too much for everything. And, hopefully with these measures, if you're taking your Pico Silver and you increase that if you get sick, and you're taking your D3 and you're taking your vitamin C and you increase those when you get sick, then you can withstand or overcome infections. Also, I should mention the homeopathic kit, which is off the shelves now because it's been sold out, but homeopathy is a very good offense, defense for viruses or any sort of symptoms. And also I must say that taking extra Remag is very important for the anxiety that's being caused by this overwhelming situation that we're all faced with. And if you find that the 3 teaspoons of Remag is causing the laxative effect, switch out to the Remag lotion. A teaspoon of Remag lotion in the recipe is equal to 200 milligrams of Remag. And the other thing that we're bringing on very shortly is potassium. I've been concerned that people are taking folk remedies of potassium to meet their needs. You know, we're telling people to take a lot of greens for their potassium, make a green broth or potassium broth with vegetables, not all just green vegetables, but all vegetables have potassium. Look at the potassium list. If you eat your vegetables, you can get a lot of potassium. But a lot of people coming to us are very complex. They're on drugs that diminish their potassium. So we're bringing a potassium on board. We'll be talking about that more, how people with AFib, if they find that 2 and 3 teaspoons of Remag are not sorting out their AFib, then they may need to take the stabilized ionic form of our Pico potassium. So there, Ginny, I have opened the floodgates. We are talking about all these new products. They're not on the shelf, but they will be. But I just want to let people know that we have your back. Over to you, Ginny.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. We do have your back, and it's a long and we want to do it because we want to enjoy our lifestyle. You know, I mean, even being in quarantine or whatever, the one thing I haven't had to be concerned about is what was going to physically happen to us, you know, or anything else like that. I mean, this is just, it's been an incredible experience, but knowing that we have the formulas, I mean, this is what we want to be able to offer everybody, peace of mind. And not only that, but we want to encourage everybody even more than before, and I don't know what else could provoke people to understand this more than this situation, that you have no guarantee of anything in life unless you take care of yourself.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, yes. You know, this just...
Yeah. And the information is out there. It is being suppressed. I'll just go over a little bit on vitamin C here. Our wonderful Dr. Michael Gonzalez from Puerto Rico, who was on the March 30th show, he put together a list of the direct antiviral mechanisms of vitamin C. I just sent Jenny a URL where you could read about all the various aspects of vitamin C therapy. And I mean, listen to this. Vitamin C, it disrupts the viral capsid by structurally interfering with the sugar attachment on the envelope. Did you know that sugar, glucose, and vitamin C are almost identical? So that when you're eating a lot of sugar, you're bouncing your vitamin C off. That's why doctors say if you have cancer, you should not eat sugar because it disrupts your cell's ability to get your vitamin C. So there's also damage of the viral, they say capsid, but it's the viral capsule due to redox capacity when given in high doses, inhibition of viral replication, increase cellular immunity, and this is indirect physiological mechanisms, increases cellular immunity of the white blood cells, the neutrophils, macrophages, lymphocytes, and natural killer cells, increases humoral immunity of the B cells and antibodies. So, Lucy, you should be taking your 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C right now. And I do mean the ascorbic acid. I know we do have a whole C reset. That'll be back in stock soon. I do want people to take 500 milligrams of the whole C reset a day to get the whole vitamin C complex. But the ascorbic acid part, which is one of the 8 different complexes in vitamin C, is what is creating all these antiviral mechanisms and indirect physiologic mechanisms for the immune system. It increases antiviral proteins like interferon. It increases energy by providing necessary electrons and electron movement for mitochondrial ATP generation. So it's working right there beside the magnesium. It limits the main source of fuel of pathogenic organisms, which is sugar. I'm hearing noises in the background, Jenny. Are you on mute?
Yeah, I am now.
It's potent, quick antioxidant action provided in proper doses to prevent dangerous and severe pathological cascade of the cytokine storm. Okay, fine. What it means is when the vitamin C is killing the virus, you can get a Herxheimer reaction, but the antioxidant aspect of vitamin C will prevent the side effects of a Herxheimer's. And it maintains structural integrity of cells by favoring collagen formation. And people are, ask us every day about, well, should I have collagen supplements or do the bone broths for collagen? Well, make your own collagen with vitamin C, for Pete's sake. So Jenny will put that URL on the chat line for people to enjoy all this information about vitamin C. So in the summary, we've got our magnesium, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, selenium, that's in our Remite. They all support the terrain and make our bodies inhospitable to viruses. That's our message. Pasteur wanted everybody to believe, like we are now, that viruses are just these dreaded drones that will get you if you poke your head outside the door. That is not true. The viruses will only attack the terrain that is vulnerable, and you make yourself vulnerable by not taking your nutrients. So, once again, the ionophore of zinc is awesome. Just do a little research on that, IONOPHORE. Our stabilized ions of our minerals get right inside the cells, and they do their work. I think I've beat this topic to death, Ginny. Oh, yes, a shout-out to Christiane Northrup. She went on Instagram with a picture of our Pico Silver, saying that that's what she's using. Gosh, I didn't even talk about silver. You know, what's happened with silver is the FDA is coming out against silver companies because I suppose some of them are making claims, which is a no-no, making claims that it's antiviral, which it is. So, we're having to sort of pull back a bit on our talk about silver. But if you want a booklet to read on silver, you can go to a website that's not our sales website, so it's legal. You can go to drcarolyndeanlive.com and under books, read the silver book and know just how awesome silver can be in these antiviral times. Okay, Ginny, back to you.
Okay, wonderful. Let's take some questions from the chat line. Remind everybody 602-666-6027 is the phone number to call this evening if you do have a question or comment for Dr. Dean. And we will put you on the line with her. You've got to hit star 5 on your keypad. Star 5 will raise your hand in the studio here. And let me see that you have a question or comment. Otherwise, your phone remains on mute. And you won't be able to talk to Dr. Dean. Caught me mid-yawn there. Not that I'm bored. Okay, let's see. All right. So let's go from the top. Everybody excited to be able to chime in and say their words. And I will say just in general about our chat line, ever since we changed the format, not as many people get on chat as they used to, but it is really super fun. So, if you're on the Studio A, you just go to the chat line when it will ask you to, create an identity. You don't have to. You can just be a guest. But it will give you an opportunity to use emoticons and stuff, which I think is very fun. So Nancy typed in, and she's up in the Pacific Northwest, and with her 60 degrees, she's gotten the Mighty Mash. I don't know if she's throwing it in her yard this week, but she's doing well with it, and in her garden, of course. Joan up in, I believe Joan up in Barrie got her Mighty Mash last week, so she's waiting for planting weather, so that's exciting. And what Robin is typing in and asking is, so as a new person to this group, how do I get started?
Well, we do have a starter. Don't we have a starter FAQ that we send to people, Jenny? No?
We do. We do. We can start. You can start by communicating with our customer service team if you'd like to, Robin, which is support, SUPPORT, at rnareset.com. They will give you the basics and to how to onboard, and you can start with the single product, the product that you feel is most appropriate for you at this time, or you can start with the Total Body Reset, which is designed to incorporate several of the Dr. Dean's formulas into a single approach to kind of reboot your body. So that's where we would recommend you get started with the minerals and the vitamins that are going to support your health, and then you kind of build from there. Remag is what we call our gateway drug, and we tease about that, but it is the biggest bang for your buck. For just $1 a day, $30, the Remag is incredible, and it will impact every single cell. Every single cell requires magnesium. And there are other minerals that will support the enzyme functions of the body, different ones, and there are vitamins that will support the immune system and this and that and the other thing. But magnesium supports every single cell in your body. So it's an absolute no-brainer. That's kind of where you start, and then you go up accordingly. This radio show is a great opportunity to talk to Dr. Dean herself. So if you want to call and talk with Dr. Dean about your particular health concerns, you can do that today at 602-666-6027. And if I were brand new to this group, that's the first thing I'd want to do is talk to Carolyn. I want to call and say, this is what my concern is. This is what I'm hoping to accomplish. These are some of the things that I'm already doing, and where do you see the gaps and what can I do? Because she has listened to people for 50 years, and she's got great instincts and great intuition, and she can cut right through and see where you are, where you're headed, where you want to go, and she can make great recommendations. So, and she doesn't exclude her own recommendations to just involve her formula. She'll take on other people's things. If she thinks you've got an emotional conflict, she'll recommend that. If she thinks you need something else, she'll tell you that. If she thinks you need to go out for a fresh walk in the sunshine or take a nap, she'll tell you that too. She's not just here to push products. So, Robin, if I were you, that's what I would do.
Because I'm not able to say my words to everybody individually. With the help of Ginny, we've developed an incredible customer service team that help to say my words. And I've also written my words in more than a dozen free ebooks, Robin, that you can download at drcarolyndeanlive.com under books. And I write pretty much as I talk, so it's really easy to follow. So you can download the Remag book, for example, and see what Ginny is saying about that being our gateway drug, where magnesium is responsible for 80% of known metabolic functions in the body, and it drives 1,000 enzyme processes. So that's where we say if a person can get saturated with magnesium, they've got a head start on everything else. So, yeah, that's a good overview of what a new person can get involved with and how they will start their journey.
Yep. And the other thing you can do to start your journey is if you're, I'm more of a person who I make my choices through relationships. I don't make my choices through data. But some people make their choices through data. And so in that regard, you might want to do the grassroots testing if you've not done anything, if you don't know anything about your body. If being a person who makes a choice through relationships, I would just listen to Carolyn and do what she says. But some people want to know, well, how do I know if I am this, this, and this, in which case the grassroots testing is very good. It's $214 to buy the kit. But let me say, you're going to get head to toe, so much information out of that from your TSH, which controls your thyroid. You're going to get your magnesium RBC, which, again, every single cell in your body, your enzyme functions. You're going to have your vitamin D result, which we know is so very important for health and immunity and vitality. And then you're also going to get your essential fatty acid results, which is where you are in your lipid system, and that lipid system involves your cell membranes, and those cell membranes are part of what viruses have to get through in order to contaminate you. So you're really looking at all those tiers of health in order to determine, okay, well, I'm really good here, but maybe a little weak here, and then that will help you embrace your dosing and decide your dosing. You'll be part of a regular assessment that they'll send you, and through that assessment, you'll note your improvements, and they'll continue to give you feedback. You'll be part of their mailing list. They'll provide you with instructional information about what to think about some of the things that you're doing for your health. And then not only that, you're going to get $214 in product coupons from us. And so it makes that onboarding test and this whole investment practically free, because you're going to want to take those products anyway, Remag, Remite, and the essential fatty acid Blue Eyes Royal product. So you're going to take those anyway, and then you're going to have the testing that goes with it, and you're going to have additional support in addition to what you would get through our organization. So if you're interested in that research project, you're going to go to rnareset.com, to the top of our website where you see the research project link there, and it'll explain everything to you, and then it'll take you to a link where you can look at that and consider that for yourself. But I was even thinking, Carolyn, about as a perk for my staff, buying those kits for them and making them do the test and participate in the project, because, they work around it so much, they probably take it for granted. And you know how when you start to take something for granted, you may not be on top of your supplementation every single day. And I don't want anybody that I know or care or about or love to be in any risk of having any kind of a compromise of not having the essential nutrients that their body needs in order to prevent their health. Because as you said, this is the beginning, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It just is.
What do we say? Expect the best, but prepare for the worst. And that's been my, Girl Guide, Girl Scout motto from day one. I mean, look at what's going on here, people. 6-8 months ago, we instituted this grassroots health home test kit. You don't have to go to a lab to get this test. A year and a half ago, I decided to build a 30,000 square foot warehouse against all odds and all input from everybody. And what's happened? We moved in just as social distancing in the workplace became 27 feet. We have social distancing, and we have a warehouse where we will stack it to the rafters, which are pretty high, with products so that we won't go on back order. So we'll always be able to have products for our customers and the products that work. We've proved over the past 10 years what works, what's required. And now, as Jenny's saying, with this blood testing, you'll know how much to take. People ask us this all the time, this and that and this and that, can I cut back on my products? I mean, no, you have to, at this point in time, you just stay where you are so that you can maintain your health. The products, especially something like magnesium, is required each and every day in amounts that will make a difference. So there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, very good. Let's ask a couple more questions. And these are people from different spectrums of the Hashimoto's hypothyroidism community. Christine in Michigan, is it okay to take Pico Silver if I have Hashimoto's? I take Remag, Remite, Recalcia, and Realign on a daily basis.
Right. I wouldn't see why you would ask why it would be a problem. It's a mineral that we know now is necessary for the body, although the FDA, NIH has not understood that. They're always 10, 20 years behind. But yeah, personally, with my thyroid, Pico Silver, no problem.
Yeah, very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Very good. Okay, next question coming through the chat line, and then we're going to take our callers. I see your hands, and I know you're there. So we will start our phone calls here soon. We're 4 minutes from the top of the hour, so we'll probably get you right back at the beginning of the hour. I'm complicated, and I have hypothyroidism. Will this interfere with any of my prescriptions?
No, the way we describe our nutrients is they're like food. They're the food that you're missing because our food is so empty. So there's no interference with any drugs or any medical or health condition with taking these nutrients. Now, some people who are on medications, thyroid medications, they've been told, oh, you can't eat or do anything, you can't take this or that, along with thyroid. I think they even say that about magnesium, but I can't find why that's being said, but it's possible that it's because most doctors think magnesium is just a laxative. And if you take your medication with a, quote, laxative, then you could have diarrhea and lose your medication. But what we know, and I personally know about hypothyroid and taking Remite, is after I took it for Remite for 6 or so weeks, I felt warm again. And I realized, I may be getting a little bit hyper, so I should have weaned it, but I didn't. Do not follow my example. I stopped my 60 milligrams of Armour Thyroid and have not looked back, and my fingers are still nice and toasty.
Very good. Lisa's asking, for the grassroots project, can the specimen be taken at any time of the day? For instance, would the first part of the day differ compared to later in the day, having taken more Remag throughout the day?
Carol Baggerly, she was on, Ginny, I don't know if you she was on about vitamin D just last week, April 6th show. But last year we had Carol Baggerly on for a whole 2 hours. She said, take the test whenever it's convenient for you, but when you do a retest, take it at the same time. That's all. Very
good. Okay, very good. So you take it 2 p.m. on Tuesday, and then 6 months later when you take your final test, you're going to take it again at 2 p.m. on Tuesday-ish, 2 p.m.-ish,
Right.
not to be whatever. Yep. Okay. Question Sandra asking, do you think that growing vegetables hydroponically can have the same or better mineral content as soil-grown vegetables?
I don't think so myself. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but I can't imagine that the water used has all the possible nutrients that dirt has, including the soil bacteria. I mean, the whole probiotic problem we're having now is that we've become so hygienic that we look at what's happening. We've become so hygienic that we drop at the first sign of an infection. So I don't think hydroponics will carry the soil-based bacteria that are necessary for our health.
Yeah, I agree. I blame hand sanitizers, and then they whip them out by the gallons now. It's shocking. Okay, everybody, we've got top of the hour. We'll be right back, and then we're going to go to your phone calls and more questions here on the chat line. Stay tuned, everyone.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
AchieveRadio.com. We return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast at 602-666-6027. At 602-666-6027.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. We see your questions on the chat line, and we will get to them. I want to start to introduce our callers now in the second hour. They've been so patient waiting the whole time while we were chitty-chatting and answering other questions. So, Carolyn, let's go to the phone, shall we?
Yes. Excellent.
Okay, let's go out to area code 732, great state of New Jersey. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, Dr. Dean. Hi, Jenny. My name is Michael, and I have a question. So a friend of mine was on a business trip up north, and when she came back, she had this, rash or something under her tongue and lower mouth, and when she takes Remag, it really burns. And she's new to the products, by the way, and she's also tried silver. Is there anything that she should do in addition to those, and drops also? Is there anything that you would recommend if you had such a condition or to be implicated by bacteria? Would you do anything in addition to that?
A rash under the tongue. I'm kind of non-specific, Michael, for me to be able to figure out. But
it's like a burning. It's like a burning. So if she has like raspberries or something, fresh raspberries.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it could be yeast overgrowth, or it could be just. There are three things: yeast overgrowth, B vitamin deficiency, which causes that type of burning mouth syndrome, and there was a third thing, that lack of bioflavonoids, part of the vitamin C complex. I would. You could look at all three of those. You know, our Realign has the food-based Bs. Look at my book, Reset the Yeast Connection. It's at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and see if there's a chance that it's yeast overgrowth. And then I know our whole C Reset with the bioflavins is not in, but find a good bioflavin. I used to, before whole C Reset, I used to use standard process, what's it called? I think I still have a bottle. It's a type of vitamin C that if I bit my tongue or bit the inside of my cheek and get a little ulcer, I could heal it with this C complex. And it's called Cataplex C, Cataplex C by standard process. So that's what I would do.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And in addition to the silver and Remag, right?
Yes. And I guess what she'd have to do is just, quickly swallow it down and not roll it around in her mouth, because, it's like the mouth is irritated and inflamed, and you need the magnesium for the inflammation, but, you don't want to burn it. But, let us know what happens.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, Michael. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, very good, very good. Let's go to area code 917, our good friend David. Hello, David. Question or comment for Dr. Dean?
Hi, Ginny. Hi, Dr. Dean. I want to thank God of the mineral and supplement helping me and my wife to getting out of the coronavirus.
Really? You were infected, yes. David?
My wife was tested, and she was positive, and I got it from her.
Right.
But we're pulling very well out of it.
Wow.
The fever went out a long time ago. I upped my magnesium to 3 or 4 teaspoons a day, plus in tablet and plus on my body. I reach about 5 teaspoons of Silver and 3 teaspoons of the mineral. And then after the fever went down, I started intravenous vitamin C and zinc, and yes. I'm taking my dog to the forest for 50 minutes, 1 hour, 2 times a day, and I'm lifting weight, and I feel great. I'm out of it.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I was going to ask, how is it there? Because there's so much going on, and that's a very positive report. Oh, my goodness. Good for you. Wow. Yeah.
Dr. Dean, I have a question for you. I'm a little bit in disagreement with you regarding the test for RBC magnesium level.
Yeah.
You said in the past that 2 days before the test, 2 or 3 days before the test, we should stop taking the Remag, and it doesn't make sense to me.
No, I never said that. I would
No?
never tell a person to go off their magnesium. Personally,
Before the test only?
No, never.
No?
Never.
So, I'm sorry.
Just the
Sorry.
morning
No.
dose. Just the morning dose to avoid that, just in case it goes quickly into the blood. Because we know, actually, David, from our university study that 1 teaspoon of our Remag immediately goes into the cells. We're using the ionized magnesium testing in this particular study. So we see how quickly it is absorbed. So it'll go into the cells. Anyway, I'm just saying I would never tell a person to go off magnesium for more than just an overnight. Okay?
Yes. I'm getting the test for a fairly good price, about $66. Is that a good price?
A test.
Are we selling the test? No.
Well, yes. The Grassroots Health test has a whole blood magnesium, which is a little better than RBC magnesium because it tests the blood and the red blood cells together. And there are 4 tests that are done. Ginny just outlined them: the TSH, the whole blood magnesium, the omega-3 fatty acids, and the vitamin D. And so the test is $217. So it's like $50 a test. So and that you don't have to worry about because New York won't allow these like requested test labs or anything.
I know. I find a doctor who's going to draw my blood, so that's out. So he's going to spin the blood, put it in the envelope, and send it. So I have no problem.
Okay.
I'll find a doctor that can do that. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, and it's good you found a doctor who would do the IV vitamin C. That's
yes.
Very good.
And he's adding also the zinc and lysine to it.
Yes.
So,
is that the doctor in Queens that I've been reading about? He's done 1,000 patients now?
No. It's one doctor in Manhattan.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to expose him or her.
No, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, well, all the best, David. Thank you for your report. We're so glad.
Thank you.
You did the experiment. You proved that what you're doing is working. Wonderful.
Absolutely. That thanks to that because my body, it's actually was prepared for it, and especially when I don't eat meat at all. I'm consuming less antibiotic from livestock, so that my body, if I need antibiotic, it will work on me. So I know that, but I'm trying not to take antibiotics. I don't need it.
Exactly. Good for you. Yeah. Well, congratulations. Thanks, David.
Thank you,
I'm very excited. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Yay.
We've been wondering about that. We didn't know when to put out a request for people to give us their reports if they had been exposed. David's wife tested positive for Pete's sakes, and then he got sick too. So that's quite a story. Wonderful.
Yep. Absolutely. And it's such a mishmash of everything out there. This is why, you've got, I can go down, and I do have to get on Facebook because we have a professional account there for the products, and I can go down the list and see things, people speculating about testing and, is it accurate or not? And then you've got, all this business and go back to work and vaccines and all the rest. The bottom line is you want to transcend all of that. Mm-hmm. You don't want to get caught up in the fray of somebody else telling you what you can or can't do with your body or what to expect from your health.
Right.
I mean, this is just the 30,000-foot conversation. Let's get to a point where you can confidently go into the world. I mean, it's interesting. Look at all the things that they did do social distancing about, Carolyn, including going on ships and traveling. Well, people are running out doing that confident stuff all the time, and now they're going to be afraid to travel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right? I mean, why? Because it's just not worth it. We don't, it's just not worth it to live in fear. It's just, it's just not.
Yeah, and we have a longevity, according to the Bible, where we should live at least to 120. So that's what I living eternally. And I don't believe that it's fate, but I believe you choose your time of death. I will always give the example of to my godson and a patient of mine, both in Toronto. In the same week, the godson fell off a 3 or 4 story balcony and, broke just about everything, and now he's traveling around the world healthy and happy. And a patient, a woman tripped on a rug in her apartment and fell and broke her neck and died. So you have to try really hard to off yourself, because we are meant to live a long and happy life. And if people are telling you something different, then that's their problem, and you can't make it your problem. You just have to stop that. Stop listening to news, or if you cannot read the internet or read articles without getting upset, do not read those articles. Just go to our radio shows and listen to them. Come to Bob's show on Saturday. No, actually, maybe not. You can get traumatized on Bob's show. But do happy things. Do not expose yourself to negativity. It's like exposing yourself to germs when you bring all that stress into your brain.
And here's another thing that you said very astutely, and it is playing out, is that you said right away, well, people will stop going to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. People have stopped going to the hospital. Now, I have encountered lots of people in my life. Even one of the gals at the bank arranged for a midwife, and she's having a baby at home because she doesn't want to have a child in the hospital now, because everybody's convinced that they're just cootie central. But here's what I think is interesting, Carolyn, is how is it? Now, I understand that people are not traveling in cars, so they're not being injured and having to go into the emergency room. I do understand that. But how is it that strokes and heart attacks have stopped? People aren't having them. So how can you stop? How can you decide, oh, you know what? This isn't a good week to have a heart attack. I think I'll hold that. Right?
I know.
So if you can decide not to have a heart attack, or if you can be in charge of where you're going to have your baby, or if you can decide you don't need to have a stroke right now because you're not going to get the quote-unquote quality of care, which means quote-unquote attention that you want, can't you just decide all the time that you're not going to be sick?
And that may be 50% of the picture. Unfortunately, the other 50% is that hospitals are being paid, apparently, $13,000 in Medicare if they're treating a COVID patient. So you can go into the hospital with something that's not COVID, be told you have COVID, they take the payment, you die, and they say it's a COVID death. There's a lot of mismanagement of the money out there and the diagnoses.
Wow. So just another reason, man, they just keep piling up like logs by a fire. Just take care of yourself and take yourself off the welfare roll of the government and the pharmaceutical companies. Now, let's talk about this one second, and then we're going to come to these questions. Answer me this. What about this business with the vaccine? Are we going to have a a homeopathy thing? We don't know what's in it. Are we thinking that we're just going to motor along with our products and that's the end of it? What are you thinking?
Right, yeah, because a vaccine, I mean, just think about it, folks. These organisms, they replicate and they transmute and transform constantly. We take a sample of a virus today, and a year later we produce a vaccine. Well, that virus is no longer on the planet. It's something entirely different. And when you look at there's an organization that's a nonprofit that looks at studies. It does a review of studies, and the last I read is that flu vaccines only help 4% of the time. So I don't know how they can get away with saying, well, all we need is a vaccine that's going to cure you, because it does not. However, Fauci is a huge vaccine proponent. Bill Gates is a huge vaccine proponent, and they're trying to force us into the vaccine tunnel. So that I'm trying to avoid by offering people support for their immune system so they don't get sick and they don't feel they need a vaccine. And this whole business about vaccines becoming mandatory in California, they want to do that all across the states for all vaccines to be mandatory, and there's a big pushback on that. So now people are going to be so scared, they're probably going to take the COVID-19 vaccine for something that doesn't exist. As for getting a homeopathic for COVID or for the next virus that comes along, I don't know if that's possible, because there's so many systems that are affected by this vaccine. I do think that as David and his wife have proven, what did he do? Brilliant. He increased his Remag and his Remite and his Pico Silver, found someone to give him his intravenous vitamin C and zinc. If he had our vitamin C and zinc, he wouldn't have needed the intravenous, because we know from our Remag that it is actually more powerful than intravenous magnesium, because you're taking it throughout the day. It's not just one shot. With intravenous vitamin C, it works best if you take it 3 times a day, like 10 grams 3 times a day, and that's pretty hard to maintain. So I'm saying I think our products, I've got something else in the works that will be added to the restructure to really promote the healing powers of amino acids. So that will be coming out as soon as I can get it moving, and that's going to be helpful. But yeah, it is a matter of people really taking their power and being strong and meeting this with all the faith and grace and fortitude that they can muster. I mean, I see people in Maui, the New Agers, the old hippies, the meditators, all the people who've maintained that spirit is all there is, they're collapsing. They're not heading into action any of what they've supposedly been practicing. It makes me think of a sweet friend of mine in Manhattan. She was having a meltdown about something or other, so she called another friend, an acquaintance of mine, and was talking about her meltdown and asking for support and help. Well, this other friend all of a sudden says, well, I've got to go do my meditation practice. And my friend, the brilliant little woman she is, she said, oh, well, I'm your practice right this minute. So your practice, your meditation, your focus is taking care of yourself right now. It's taking care of yourself in the midst of something as chaotic and challenging as COVID-19. And as I said, I never push fear, but I'm warning you that it could get worse, so get yourself prepared. Go into, go make this your own little adventure military operation experiment, because you need to be in a calm place, have your own bubble of health so that you can ward off whatever's coming. It's up to you.
Right on. Very good. Excellent. Perfect words. All right. Back to our phones and then questions from the chat line. Area code 203. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, this is Sandy. I wanted to call you both and just thank you both for everything you're doing. You're really right in the foreground there. You're helping us all so much. Your support team is always there. I talked to Julie. She's always there. I'm telling you, you guys are the best. And I do have one question for you. Now, I have more than one, but how many hours should you wait between taking the RNA drops? I vary, and I'm never sure. Should I wait?
Only 15 minutes. Only 15 minutes. It's not a problem.
No. I meant you take 15 drops twice a day. So you take it in the morning, and then you take it again in the afternoon.
Right.
So how many hours are you looking at?
I've never thought about it that way. I've gotten to the point, Sandy, where I just take my 30 drops once a day. So you might want to do that if you find it hard figuring out the timing. But I used to take mine first thing in the morning and then last thing at night. But now I just take one double dose first thing in the morning. What do you do, Ginny?
I just chug them down in the morning. Same thing.
Yeah, you get to that point.
Then that's where it'll be. Now, I give my dog a few drops of silver in her water. She's about 17 pounds, just a little brown Boston Terrier. I give drops. Now, is a quarter of a teaspoon, an eighth of a teaspoon, would that be a better way of measuring it for such a tiny dog?
Ginny, what do you think about silver for dogs? What's your experience? Because you're the doggy person.
Why are you doing that? Does she have a digestive issue or something of that nature that you want to, or an infection of some sort, or teeth, or what's going on?
Well, she seems to have an allergy going on, and her eye gets gooky, and she's always got that short nose, so they got a lot of congestion. And the veterinarian, of course, they pump you up with the medicine, and I don't want to keep doing that. So I've been wipe her eye off with the silver on the cotton ball, and then I've been putting a drop in her water. I've been starting to do it now, not every day. It seemed to have helped. I mean, I just
I don't think you're using enough then, just one drop. Like I do 10 drops in a gallon of water for my dogs, and I make a gallon of water like in a jug, and then I just pour it in their thing at a time. So I think you could probably go up to 10 for a gallon of water. And
that's brilliant.
Yeah, what you're doing with the cotton ball is right. And if you're concerned about her allergies and stuff like that, I would just swab the inside of her nose with the Pico Silver Q-tip.
Well, I've been putting
Let
it in
her
her
inhale
ear.
those ions.
Put it off. Yeah, I've been putting in her ear, and I've also kind of thought about giving her one drop of the RNA drops, but I'm not sure where you're at with something like that.
Oh, I have in the past. I have done it when my dogs get sick or when my dog got hurt. I did definitely gave them drops. Yeah.
How many? What would you give something 17 pounds?
Just one or
like
two.
Just one drop in your food or something, or you can even put it in your finger and just wipe it on their tongue. There's probably nothing they can do about that.
Yeah, they'd lick it right off your hand, for Pete's sakes. You'll see.
I know that if I accidentally drop a drop on the counter, I'll lick it right off the counter, to tell you the truth myself.
Right.
I love
Don't
it.
waste.
No waste. Now, I've been, of course, on your products, your wonderful products, for 5 years, and it was medicine. It was the amoxicillin, their fluoride that put me to my knees. It was supporting the body with the proper nutrients that brought me back to my health. Thank you very much, FDA. So what I wanted to say was that I had gone down on the magnesium after 5 years. With all this that happened, I started getting the morning muscle spasm, like around 5, 6 o'clock. You jump out of bed, and it's in the calf. Of course, it was the medicine. That medicine hits the tendon. In my mind, I see it as though it dries the tendon out sometime, like an elastic band. And so I tend to use Remag and like the avocado oil and rub that into it as much as I can in my mind, thinking it's going to maybe absorb like you would a piece of leather that's old, and rub it with. So that was my mind set. So I wanted just to tell everybody I've been on it for 3 years. Now I've gone back up to 3 teaspoons of the Remag and 1.5 to 2 teaspoons of the Remate, and that's after 5 years. So people say sometimes because of the stress, because it came back, I've gone back up again. And that's exactly what I think you've been teaching us to do over all this time. Another thing I wanted to say was your friend, Christine Northorpe. I followed her when I was young. She's been quite prevalent for many years. I'm now 68. But what a wonderful woman she is. And the stories in her old book that she had were wonderful, getting me through a time at that time. One thing she said was she was taking care of a friend who was sick, and she said that she knew where this place that sold really good brownies, and every day in her stress, she would get herself one brownie, and that she, from what I remember, what she spoke about was that little treat just made her day, made her feel better with this stress that she was facing. Right. I know that you're saying how sugar is very bad, and I realize it's bad. I'm a baker, you know that. But is it that bad if someone's out there and they so feel lost, and it brings them that little bit of joy to have that candy or something?
Well, you know what I would do, Sandy? What I would do is just sort of, switch it a little bit and for example, use a healthier sweet treat. I've gotten addicted to my frozen berries and heavy whipping cream. And it's one frozen strawberry, good size one, 6 frozen
this
cherries,
is what I'm talking
raspberries, 15 blueberries, nothing. Chopped up, it becomes almost, 3/4 of a cup, and then heavy whipping cream, which is not a sugar. It's a fat that the body loves. So there's a treat. There's a healthy treat rather than straight glucose, because it is. Yes. Yeah. So that's my idea.
What the standpoint that I was coming from was, yes, absolutely. I love those healthy desserts. I love to create them. But what I'm trying to say is that there is so much stress that I thought that Christine Northorpe was right. During this time, say somebody actually loves Oreos. Now they're trying to do very good for their body and everything, but they have a craving. They want an Oreo. If they kept it down to 1 or 2 Oreos, I don't think it's going to be, and especially if they're on your products, I don't think that that's going to be devastating to their system. I just want to take away a little bit of the feeling of guilt when we hear so many people talking about, the guilty part of having the forbidden dessert. If you keep that forbidden dessert down, like you said before,
Sandy, look, I hear you, Sandy, but I'm not going to accept that. I personally, if I had a box of Oreos or chocolates or whatever, they would be gone in a day. You cannot tempt yourself like that. You just can't. So do not tempt me. Okay, Sandy, I'm going to move on.
Okay, it was great talking to you. One more quick question. Is oil pulling a good idea for the first guy that talked to you? Remember he was talking about the girl having the problem with the mouth? If she did a little oil pulling, that might help.
Right.
Would it help to, like, lubricate her mouth so that she could take the RNA drops?
Right. I don't know if Michael is still listening, but yes, that is a good idea. Either coconut oil or sesame oil. I don't know about olive oil, but those two
something
oils,
that would let those coconut, so that the RNA drops won't come in contact with that area underneath the tongue, and then should be able to take her RNA drops. That's all. Thank you, guys. You're in my prayers every day. Love you both.
Thank you, Sandy. Love you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Jenny, Sandy mentioned the transdermal magnesium in there somewhere, I think. And I just want, rubbing into her calf to try to reactivate her kind of brittle tendons from her drugs. Melody Rose was asking me about why the transdermal magnesium seems to help her in certain areas more than the oral Remag liquid. And I think it's just the access of the magnesium to the cells that are right under the skin. It's absorbed really quickly. It just gets right to where the action is, and it doesn't have to go through your mouth and find its way down to those cells. So we've always said that to use the Remag lotion on any painful areas as much as you can. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that transdermal Remag has a real place in people's therapy.
Absolutely. 100.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Localized application. Yes. Yep, absolutely. 100%. Okay, and that's, okay, very good. All right. Elise typed in, your customer service is top-notch. I'm actually friends now with one of the gals. Is there a solution of hydrogen peroxide, useful or safe, to use in a neti pot?
I don't. That's a good question. I'll have to ask Dr. Levy, Thomas Levy. He's given us the formula for nebulizer. So that's a nebulizer. You put a mask over your face and you inhale a dilution of hydrogen peroxide mixed with, did he say saline or distilled water?
Distilled water.
Distilled water, yeah. 50-50. I don't know about a neti pot. I can email him and ask him. And Elise, just leave your email address with customer service and say I'm getting back to you on neti pot hydrogen peroxide.
Okay, very good. Yep, excellent. Yes, we know Elise. I know how to get a hold of her, Carolyn, so just get it to me and I'll get it to Elise. Yep. Nisa typed in, I've been taking Remag, Remite, Recalcia for a few years, and I recently added Pico Silver. And recently I've been diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus. I don't have any symptoms. And my doctor put me on Acyclovir, Acyclovir.
Acyclovir.
Oh, Acyclovir, which made me very sick, and I had to stop it. If I don't have any symptoms, do I need to seek treatment for the virus?
Oh, boy. I mean, this whole Epstein-Barr virus business, maybe 85-90% of people have antibodies to Epstein-Barr virus. Maybe your doctor just went to a seminar and found out, oh, my gosh, Epstein-Barr. There's that medium psychic who's written books that every disease known to man is Epstein-Barr, and you go on a vegetarian diet and get better and drink lots of parsley or something, and it's just way over the top. If you don't have symptoms, then you shouldn't be on a therapy that gives you symptoms. When I did the AIDS and chronic fatigue research in New York, every one of our patients had every antibody to every virus and every bacteria and every parasite, for Pete's sake. It's what we're exposed to, and whether or not we're symptomatic depends on our underlying immune system. So yes, you could have tested for the Epstein-Barr, but your body's dealing with it. So that's what I have to say, and I won't repeat myself.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, and it's interesting because we did, when we were at the NIH, one of the things that was discovered was that Epstein-Barr, if anything, is magnesium deficiency related. Remember, Carolyn, the immune guy, Dr. Mike, Leonardo. So, you may not be taking enough magnesium, as is the case with our next questioner who's typing in this question, Carolyn. I've been taking all the products for almost 2 years. I was diagnosed with total body meltdown, IBS, and Hashimoto's. I follow a healthy diet, grain-free, dairy-free, and organic. I'm still very fatigued, and I have a lot of diffuse joint muscle aches on a daily basis that makes it very difficult for me to relax. It was suggested to me by a health coach to explore bioenergetic healing due to the symptoms I continue to experience. And despite using all the supplements that my blood panels reveal I'm deficient in. I had my first scan this past Saturday, and it showed that I'm deficient in magnesium. I've been taking 3 teaspoons for 1.5 years. The registered dietitian who performed the scan said that my body is most likely not able to utilize the magnesium, and this is due to my body not communicating correctly at a cellular level. She explained that my body is speaking French to itself, and it's not able to sync up. What are your thoughts? Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I just can't believe the words that some people use to justify what they don't know. REMAG does get into the cells. It's nothing to do with this not communicating. You're missing something. What I would suggest is you send in a request to customer service to have me look at what we call a Tier 2 set of questions and answers, so we can see what's going on. It could be that you need more vitamin C. You might need potassium to make the magnesium work better, etc. There's a lot of possibilities rather than fitting into this health coach's, her little bailiwick of bioenergetic healing and, being subjected to that sort of interpretation. 3 teaspoons sounds like enough, but let's look at what else is going on and what has improved the diffuse muscle aches. I know when I started taking the extra vitamin C just last week, I felt the sort of the I don't know what to call it. I thought it was a little bit of inflammation in my thighs when I do my a little handheld massage unit, the thumper. I would feel that it just burned a little more than it should, and the vitamin C helped. So there are things that we can fine-tune about what's going on. Okay, so that enough said. We'll get the Tier 2 and see what we can do to help you.
Okay, very good. Again, support SUPPORT at RNAreset.com. Okay, Skip just wrote in and said, thank you, Carolyn and Ginny, for such another awesome show. Just wondering what the dose for vitamin C and Pico Silver would be for children.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about children under the age of 4. One of our labels got nailed because we had a child's dose, and apparently children are, we can't communicate with children. Vitamin C, what do you do there? The RDA for vitamin C for adults is 60 milligrams. Oh, my gosh. Personally, what would I do for my children? I'd be giving them half a teaspoon once or twice a day of Pico Silver when they're exposed to something, maybe just half a teaspoon a day in general. And the vitamin C, when our new whole C vitamin C comes in, we managed to get an even more awesome batch of the acerola powder, and it actually tastes yummy. So I would put a capsule, open up a capsule, and put it into a child's smoothie or juice once a day. That's what I would do. I don't know what you'll do, Skip, but that's what I would do.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Lanny out in Utah. I mix my Remag for the day every morning, and I sip it throughout the day. Lately, I've discovered that cool water can trigger AFib in my body. Anyway, not always, but I don't want to take a chance. Will it hurt the magnesium chloride structure if I microwave it a little bit to make it lukewarm?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, pour in some warm water, for Pete's sakes. Put it on the stove. Stay away from your microwave.
Yeah, Carolyn doesn't have a microwave. She won't use it. I think she uses it as a potted plant or a bread basket or something, but Carolyn is not a fan of microwaves, so she could never endorse that. Now, our minerals are stable from freezing to boiling, so you can pour them in a tea, but Carolyn would want you to make that tea on top of the stove with a regular heated burner, not with a microwave.
We have no idea if your microwave is leaking. We really don't know. I mean, again, I don't like to be the spreader of doom and gloom, but when you're not able to assess that there's fire coming out of your microwave and affecting you, when these microwaves are coming through your room, what I have in my microwave is my cookbooks, which I never really look at. So let's move on.
Yeah, that's all right. But, Lanny, we appreciate it. Yeah, now, what concerns me is that you're using Remag and your AFib is being triggered by cool water. What do you think about that, Carolyn? Not taking enough Remag?
And if it's just Remag in that water, I mean, there should be some Remite in there, and you should be swallowing down your Realign along with it. Go to the Heart book, Heart Health book at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and check out what you're missing in your protocol. And it could be potassium. I'm coming up against this potassium business a lot, and we are getting in our potassium liquid soon, and we'll be talking about it more because we're trying to kind of fine-tune the people who, after several months, still get episodes of AFib. Is it because their potassium is low? And we have to be careful with the potassium because you can follow it with your blood test, but I'm learning that there's the same problem with potassium testing as there is with magnesium testing, because most of the potassium in the body is in the cells. So when you test the serum or blood potassium, you're not getting total body potassium level. So we live and learn, and we are going to be working with potassium. In the meantime, Lanny, for your potassium, look in the, what would it be, the Remite book for a potassium broth, and just make sure you're taking enough potassium in your food.
Right on.
Say it that way. Yeah.
Right
Okay.
on. Very good. Very good. Okay, Neri in Vermont typed in and said, how does the grassroots test kit compare to the yearly physical at the doctor's office, which would also include vitamin D levels?
I think they would be similar tests, Mary, but I never really promoted a lot of that testing in our customers because I had no idea of the lab the test was going to, the inaccuracy when you do a yearly physical. And actually, they're going to be cutting out the yearly physical. They're just not doing it anymore unless you're going to an independent doctor who still believes in helping patients. They're cutting out the annual physical, and they're not really doing any, quote, routine blood tests. So, again, this is why we're doing the grassroots health, is because you have to get some testing at some point, and it has to be reliable. The other comparison is, yes, it'll be the same vitamin D type test. Omega-3 fatty acids, your doctor's never going to do. The TSH will be similar. The magnesium will be a whole blood magnesium, which is better than the serum test that the doctor does. And by all our, thousands of customers and the thousands of people doing the grassroots test, it all goes to the one lab, and which makes it something that's accurate. And if we have a question about someone's test, they'll just repeat it for us, et cetera, et cetera. And with the computer analysis of the testing we're doing, we can start making observations on the data. One of the observations is Carol Bagley found out that people who take higher amounts of vitamin C need less vitamin D. They'll find the same for people with magnesium. Like I take I take saturation doses of magnesium. Now I'm only on 1.5 teaspoons. And so my magnesium was, high normal, but my vitamin D was low. But I don't feel that I'm suffering from vitamin D deficiency effects. So part of the experiment, it's low. Okay, I'm going to take 5,000 IUs of vitamin D now for 3, 4, 5 months and then retest and see where my levels are. It's something that doctors aren't doing to find the dose of what you need to take. And as Carol has done with the vitamin D, she's finding out the range that you should be in order to avoid certain conditions. So, enough said.
Well, let me just say one more thing. Your doctor is not going to give you $214 worth of free dietary supplement coupons to apply to using the advancing of your body into an appropriate biological status. I mean, that's just the bottom line. They're not going to be, just consider Dr. Dean's generosity and her commitment to people. She's so committed to you getting this done. I mean, she can't drag you down there and force you to do it, but I mean, she's so committed. I mean, she puts her money where her mouth is. Take the test. Here's $214 worth of coupons over a 6-month period of time so that you can stay saturated in the minerals and the magnesium that I know your body requires, essential fatty acids, vitamin A, and vitamin D in a modest amount in the Blue Ice Royal capsules. We negotiated with that partner to agree to be able to provide those discounts as well at their expense. These are the things that we've lined up for you. I just don't think that your doctor's going to charge you around the parking lot with a spoonful of free mag and insist that you take care of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Perfect.
Very much so. Okay. All right. So I think we've answered everybody's questions. Lots of thank yous from Elise and Skip and from Linda, Carolyn, people who are getting the information that you're putting down for them so that they can follow through. And so that's wonderful. And all of our listeners are getting everything done that they need to get done. Now, what else do we have coming up that we want to talk about here for the next few minutes?
Oh, we have so much going on. Something went through my brain there a minute ago, but I lost it.
I would like to give a shout-out to our customer service team. We have talked about them, but I will say these last couple of weeks have just been crazy as everybody's been under so much stress, and they've just been incredibly patient and responsive to people. People are concerned. They're fearful about a lot of different things, and they've just been on there every single day knocking it out, helping people. Our shipping team has been amazing, getting things out to people in record time. Our international customers have been amazing and been very patient with their packages. Some of our international shipping has been cut off because of the way things are moving right now, but our friends to the north in Canada are still able to get their things, and we've cut it down to DHL so far as a shipping partner. They've been impeccable, and their stuff is still getting out without issue. So, we're making as many adjustments as we can, and I'm starting to feel the light at the end of the tunnel. How about you, Carolyn?
Well, I live in this bubble of paradise, so I'm sorry, I have nothing to complain about.
Other than that you know too much.
I know too much. And I have Bob. So with Bob, all things are possible.
All things are hilarious, Bob.
Yeah, we're very blessed. So, but thank you for asking.
So you feel things are going to start to get back to normal, or they were never not normal for you?
Oh, I see.
No, they're not.
No, they're not going to get back to normal. There's a new normal that's...
it's going to get worse.
But I don't
according to our sources.
Okay, Bob.
But the thing is, if you're on our products, you do pretty good.
Bye, Bob.
If you're on our products, you got a chance. Get on our products, you'll get a chance.
Bob. Thanks, Bob.
A lot of people going.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Poor Bob.
That's my latest joke.
Okay. I do have Bob, mute. There's echo. I do have a mailbag question. Thanks for the lovely show. I have a question. My hair analysis before Remag showed a calcium-magnesium ratio 15-1. So that's 15 parts calcium to 1 magnesium, which is bad. I've been having Remag now for 4 months, 2 teaspoons daily. Now the ratio is 4-1, which is a normal range. Should I reduce the Remag to 1 teaspoon now? Please advise. Well, I would say that you're not treating your hair, you're treating your whole body. And 1 is a maintenance after you're saturated, 1 teaspoon. So personally, I would keep on the 2 teaspoons a day. Someone else, just one more testimonial and observation. The customer said the blue sclera of my eyes is lightening considerably, which I believe means my connective tissue is getting stronger. I can't be sure what the cause was, but nonetheless, the whites of my eyes were so dark blue even just 6 months ago that the light blue color now definitely means I'm on the way to healthy. I'm not an iridologist, but it was also fascinating to watch 2 very dark marks on the inner left side of my left eyeball adjacent to my pupil get considerably lighter over time to the point that both marks are almost gone now. My teeth have remineralized by at least 75% and continue to look better each week. I no longer have any plaque, and my receding gum line grew back. My spinal stenosis is much better, and the peripheral neuropathy is hardly felt nowadays. And one of the most exciting updates, I have had at least 1 bowel movement every single day for the past several weeks. I do not believe I am safe to say this has never happened in my entire life. I do believe I'm safe to say this has never happened in my entire life, and I just turned 56. One of the most fabulous signs of good health I celebrate daily. Isn't that sweet? I mean, the detail. This is from Victoria, and so beautiful. People observing and making connections and realizing what's going on with their bodies, and it's very inspiring. Each of her little paragraphs had a heart beside it. It's very sweet. So thank you, Victoria.
I'll be able to post that one?
Yeah, yes. Bob posts some of these on his Facebook page. So I have other mailbags, but we're all at the top of the hour. Yes, just we are being tested, so just rise to the occasion. Keep yourself healthy. The best way to stay healthy is stay away from doctors and hospitals as much as you can.
And I'm becoming very famous, and the few people left in Maui, because I'm the only guy swimming in the water, huge lengths. Where does that guy get his strength is the main question in everybody's mind in Maui now. Where's that guy? How can he do that?
Yeah, it's very sad. Mute, Bob. When I walk my beach walk in the morning, which we're still allowed to do, I pass by maybe 6 or 7 people, whereas it used to be dozens and dozens. It's very sad. People have locked themselves away when they really should be out getting some exercise if you can. I don't know the rules and regulations in different municipalities, but keep up your exercise for Pete's sake.
Yep, absolutely. For Pete's sakes, absolutely. Well, another absolutely high-quality show from Dr. Dean, putting everything in perspective. All is well, getting weller, and we may be in a new paradigm, but we're going to continue to flourish because that's just the way we are. That's just who we are. So we'll be back next week, and it's going to be fun next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Right, Carolyn?
That's right, Jenny. With you by my side, we are invincible.
Yay! That's right. That is exactly positively correct. Absolutely.
Thanks, you, Jenny.
Everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bill. Thank you,
Jenny.
Listeners.
Thanks, Bob.
You've been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's show, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.